Happy Lent, everybody. Is it still Lent? I think it is.
It is still Lent.
It is still Lent. Hashtag still Lent. Didn't you?
What a terrible hashtag.
I know. Didn't you do that one time where you reminded people that it was like, it's still Easter? It's still Christmas.
No, I like to do
every
that.
year.
I like to do that every year.
Every year you lay it on thick.
I do like to do that.
Welcome back to the great people of this part of the universe and the galaxy to another episode of your favorite Priests of Payne County podcast. That's very, 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 very specific.
Episode 146.
This is quit whispering. You did that last time, and I thought we put that kibosh on that early on.
I think it's interesting when I tell people, yeah, we've had 145 episodes, and people say, "Wow, really?
Wow."
You don't care, but I don't care about you.
Oh, well, hi.
Some people care, and then some people are Father Kerry.
That's me, Father Kerry, coach, pastor, St. John Catholic Student Center. I'm here with my sidekick, Father Brian O'Brien, who is the co-host on this amazing podcast. He's actually the one that keeps it running. If it was up to me, I'd have forgot about it weeks ago. But
there is some organization behind it.
Yeah,
and you may or may not be surprised that over these 146 episodes,
subtle slip in a number.
Has fallen to me.
Yes. You're a lot more organized than I am, and I'm trying to finish up this building project and make sure we keep it on the timeline and under budget and done.
We were doing this before your building project, though, just so you know.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. 2 weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago? It was the third Sunday of Lent, and I remember because the bishop was here.
Oh yeah, right.
My parish and at your parish. He's a trooper.
Yeah, he did.
Because he rolled in. He got here that morning at like 9:30. Spent an hour walking the building with Father Robert Duck.
Okay.
Visited our first communion class. Visited confirmation.
Whoa.
Visited Xavier kids. Greeted and talked to people. Then celebrated the 11:15 Mass.
Okay.
Then celebrated the 1 o'clock Spanish Mass. Then took me out to lunch. Then
what? Took you out to lunch? I
was
doing marriage. I was doing marriage prep.
I invited you.
I was doing marriage
prep.
Yeah.
I invited you.
I had marriage
I invited
prep with people I liked more.
I invited you. Then came over to your place and did the 5 o'clock Mass.
And hung around for a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anyway,
the tires.
But the first reading, the reason I remember third Sunday in Lent, the bishop was here. The first reading was Exodus chapter 20.
Oh, that was with the commandments, 10 commandments.
Which are known as the 10 Commandments.
Or the Decalogue, the 10 words.
As Bishop said in his homily, I don't know if he said this at your place, and he said, it's not the 10 recommendations.
Not the 10 suggestions.
Yeah.
Did I sound like him from Bryan, Texas?
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
Good. So we did a show months back on the first commandment.
Oh, yes.
What is the first commandment?
Love the Lord your God with your whole heart, mind, and soul.
The first commandment of the Decalogue.
Isn't that it? Love the Lord your God?
That's when Jesus says, like, when they said, what are which of these commandments are the
what
greatest?
Is it? What is it?
The first commandment, you shall have no other gods besides me. Yeah, okay.
Love the Lord your God with your whole heart, mind, and soul, and have no other gods before me.
And the second commandment
is the Lord's name is holy.
Do not take the Lord's name in vain.
Yeah.
So we thought we would do a little show. You can go back and listen to those. Those are high quality episodes on the moral life.
Correct.
On how to be happy.
And numero tres on the Decalogue.
And so we'd like to talk about the third commandment because I think the third commandment is highly, how should I say this? Unfollowed.
Highly rejected.
Highly rejected. Highly ignored.
Ignored. Yeah.
And also misunderstood.
I had this professor in seminary who's now a bishop, and he gave this
Father Kerry.
Bishop Jorge gave this line during class. He said he was it was a priest of the Archdiocese of Denver, and then Father Jorge Rodriguez said, "Gentlemen, remember the third commandment, which is keep holy the Lord's day. Remember, you will also burn in hell if you do not keep that one." I'm like,
okay,
what? And then he moved on very quickly. But now Bishop Jorge Rodriguez, thank you for that reminder because it has guided a lot of my life. That's a commandment I still have to keep. I mean,
no
other gods. Don't use the Lord's name, and like I must rest and worship him on the Sabbath.
So here's this is the scripture. This is from Exodus chapter 20. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God.
Preach it, brother.
In it you shall not do any work.
Right. Okay, so when is the Sabbath day? Because some people would right off the bat dispute that as
controversy.
Why not? Why isn't it Friday to Saturday?
It is if you're Jewish.
Or you're Seventh-day Adventist.
Or Seventh-day Adventist. They get fired
Okay,
up.
so why wouldn't you keep holy the Sabbath day on Friday to Saturday?
We would say that the Sabbath day, the Lord's Day, and we actually use the phrase the Lord's Day and not, those can be kind of interchangeable. But strictly speaking, we would say we celebrate the Lord's Day. And that is Sunday, in the Christian tradition, Sunday, because that is the day of the Lord's resurrection. Now, what our Seventh-day Adventist friends would say, and we love them, hey, Catholic Church, you guys ruined it because you moved the Sabbath. You shouldn't have done that. The Sabbath is Saturday, Friday night to Saturday, and you moved it, and so you're responsible for breaking God's commandments, they would say about us.
But did Jesus broke it? Broke it when he actually rose on that?
I mean, that's what we would say.
And we call it the 8th day because the Sabbath day is the 7th day, and Sunday is the 8th day. The Lord rose. Yep. And so that's why we're baptized into not only the death, but the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So why should people take the third commandment seriously? Father Kerry.
Well, it was given to us by God through Moses.
Okay, good answer.
Written by the finger of God.
Go deeper.
Go deeper, because if we don't worship the good God on Sunday, we will worship something else. And therefore, the number one commandment will show up in our life, which is we will have other gods, whether it is homework or chores or sports or just like being out the lake boating, which I love boating out the lake, but it can become a god. And therefore, if I don't worship the good God on Sunday, then I would probably start worshiping the first commandment, following the first commandment. Also, we're made to worship. It's a reminder of what we're supposed to be doing. You know, like people tell you, like, hey, make sure you floss, make sure you brush your teeth, make sure you go to the doctor every year, make sure you go to the dentist every 6 months for your checkup. The third commandment says you were made to worship God. So therefore, do it. And so it's a really great, healthy reminder to do that. Especially, I mean, for priests, us, like we take the third commandment seriously too.
I work on Sundays.
When's your Sabbath day? Yours
Monday.
Yeah, mine is Saturday or Monday, because I'm always working. I mean, but then people would say, "Well, you're not allowed to work." Well, that is like what David, David in the conversation about the priests in the temple. They work on the Sabbath. And are they actually violating the Sabbath? And the answer is no.
Ooh, I like it.
Man,
okay, let me read a little catechism. Here's a little catechism. Why do we? So this is 2174 in the Catechismo of the Catholic Church. Jesus rose from the dead on the first day of the week because it is the first day. The day of Christ's resurrection recalls the first creation because it is the 8th day following the Sabbath. It symbolizes the new creation ushered in by Christ's resurrection. And if you think maybe like we made this up at some point along the way, can I read to you something from St. Justin Martyr, which was written in the 1st century?
Well, really?
Ready?
About the Sabbath day?
Yeah, this is Justin Martyr,
Come
1st
on.
century. We all gather on the day of the sun, for it is the first day when God, separating matter from darkness, made the world. On this same day, Jesus Christ, our Savior, rose from the dead. So, in the 1st century, we were celebrating the Lord's Day on Sunday.
In the 1st century? Yeah, it's not like it showed up like 6 centuries later.
Yeah. I'm tired of Saturday. Let's move. Okay, so what the heart we would say, and this is very important, I think, especially in the time of COVID, where many people have justly, stayed away from the Mass. There was a time even last year when we didn't even have public Mass. We always had Mass. We never stopped celebrating the Mass.
Correct.
But many people have stayed away from the Eucharist. And it's actually, we've seen some predictions, depending on the parish and the place, and that some have said that roughly a third of Catholics who previously were going to Mass are not going to return.
Wow.
Now, I don't think that will be the case here. But people have gotten out of the practice of church going. Mm-hmm. Now, before COVID, lots of people were already out of the practice. But but this has now made, I think in some people's minds, church has become a place of disease and two people that are too close to each other, and somebody won't wear a mask, and
the same at Walmart.
All that. And so people have been avoiding church and have gotten out of the habit. One quote I saw recently, it said that it's not that people have lost faith, they've lost faithfulness. I found that helpful. That it's not they haven't lost faith, but need to be invited back. So I think we should talk about the importance of the Sunday Eucharist.
Ooh.
The Sunday Eucharist as the center of our week, the beginning of our week, the outpouring, the what's the word? The launching pad of our week. I'm making hand motions.
I'm watching them.
I'm fist pumping. Okay. So why is the Sunday Mass so important?
Is this a rhetorical question?
Question mark.
Oh, is this supposed to me, or are you waiting for a call in from somebody?
Let's go to our callers. We have Mindy from Seattle.
Hi, this is Mindy, and I think that's a really great idea. That sounds like Butters from South Park. I don't know where that voice came from.
Mickey Mouse. Why is the Sunday? Why? I mean, so people who are out there who might be listening who are, I just don't know. I don't really want to go back to church. I just want to watch it on the live stream, and we're gonna say.
The beautiful line in it is in the liturgy is, "Pray, brethren, that my sacrifice and yours." I think that is the heart of why people should come back. Like, why should I come back? Oh, well, I get to hang out with some friends. I have a community of people. There's coffee and donuts,
which there isn't right now.
What? We have coffee and donuts.
You have donuts?
Oh yeah, we do.
Shh! Don't tell.
Don't
tell people.
We throw them at people as they're walking out the door. Just kidding. At the heart of all this, of why people should come back, is because man and woman are made for worship. We're made for worship of God. And that's what that beautiful prayer says after the chalice and the bread, the wine and the bread are laid upon the altar. It says, "Pray, brethren, that my brothers and sisters, that my sacrifice and yours may be acceptable to God, the Almighty Father." And so even throughout the Old Testament, the very beginnings of religion and Judaism were about sacrifice.
Yep.
Cain and Abel, Adam and Eve, Noah, all the way up until Jesus. I mean, his is the last and eternal sacrifice. This is the sacrifice in my blood. Do this in memory of me. This is this covenantal sacrifice. So all of us need to return for sacrifice.
The Catechism says the Sunday celebration of the Lord's Day and His Eucharist is at the heart of the Church's life.
Agree.
So if that's true, which it is, and you are kind of sitting out Sunday Mass, that's not good.
Why is it not good?
It's not good. The Sunday celebration of the Lord's Day and His Eucharist is at the heart of the Church's life.
Okay, so I got the Eucharist, but what does the rest of the day look like? So yes,
so Sunday Mass, yes. So you got to go. You got to go to Sunday Mass. Yes. Now what? Now I can go back to my busy workaholic life.
I have a little introduction for you.
Oh, do you?
From the Catechism.
Oh, do you?
Number 2186.
I'm looking at it.
Oh, no, you're not. Are you?
I have it in front of me. I've memorized the Catechism.
What? Do you have like a flip down visor or something like that? Because
I have Google glasses.
Really?
I can just.
Okay,
so it's 2186.
2186. It says Sunday is traditionally consecrated by Christian piety to good works and humble service for the sick, the infirm, and the elderly Christians who also sanctify Sunday by devoting time and care to their families and relatives, often difficult to do on other days of the week. So it's really beautiful. Like, what else are we doing on this Sunday? So we're worshiping God. Love the Lord your God with your whole heart, mind, and soul. Have no other gods before him. Then 3, worship him. Then what else do we do? We do that other part of the commandment that Jesus has said. What are the 2 greatest commandments? Love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as you love yourself. So now I'm being called out to go and serve my family. That's what the word mass means. It doesn't mean to atomic weight or a collection of stuff. Like, I'm massing a lot of things together. It means missionary, to be sent. So now the mass says, go out and do some awesome stuff for the glory of God and for other people.
And sick people and old people.
Yeah. So then he says, Sunday is a time for reflection. That's what I love also about the story of creation. It gets to the end and it says about what about creation? That God thought about all he had made and saw that it was very good. And so on this day, he rested from all the work he had done. So one of the things I love doing on my Sabbath day, on my day of rest, is just putting my electronics away, putting noise away, and not even trying not to watch movies. Maybe I'll watch a movie. I watched Sandlot a couple weeks ago on my Sabbath day. It's just so much fun. I love Sandlot, and this is also an opportunity just to reflect upon the past week of all the beautiful things that have happened. Maybe the way we were jerk-faced jerkwads to people, to see all the beautiful things that God has done, and to just admire creation and think like, wow, all this was created out of nothing for me. So Sunday is a time for reflection, 2186 says. Silence. It's hard to reflect.
Oh, man.
I know. It's hard to reflect when it's just you're bombarded by noise. So to have that quiet time and that silence. Cultivation of the mind. It's one of the words.
Book.
It's one of the words that is used in the creation scene. It says care for and cultivate. Like, care for is shamar, which is to protect, but cultivate is to make grow. So to make the mind grow. And what's the last line said? Meditation, which furthers the growth of the Christian interior life. So to do what Mary did, and what did it say of Mary? She says she dwelled on all these things. She pondered them.
Pondered these things in her heart.
Yeah, when they went to the temple and Simeon said all those things, it says, and she pondered these things in her heart. Pondering over these things. So not only of taking silent time to reflecting on the beauty of nature, of God's work during the week, is also taking this time to make our faith life grow intellectually and in the depths of our hearts, to dwell on these things.
Yes.
like Mary did.
So yeah, so I would, if you're listening to this, you're take a good look at your what is right now your Sunday routine. Ooh. In light of what Father Kerry just said. So ask yourselves these questions. Did I prioritize Sunday Mass? Preferably at your own parish.
Ooh.
So I think people who
church hop,
I think it's not good for you. Find a parish, preferably where you live, and go there and invest there and invest your life there. And is it maybe it's not as good as scare quotes good as the parish you left or the parish you were at in college, or but invest there, right? It's the parish, and this again from the Catechism. A parish is a definite community of the Christian faithful established on a stable basis within a particular church. It is the place where all the faithful can be gathered together for the Sunday celebration of the Eucharist. So now, obviously, if you're traveling, obviously, if you're somewhere else, then go to that whatever church. But the idea that, and we don't really have this issue in Stillwater, the idea of let's go, and I think especially if you have kids, I think it confuses the heck out of kids. Pick a parish, invest there, and go there. And your Sunday. So ask yourself these questions: Did I go to Sunday Mass? Good. That's your kind of number one obligation. But then beyond that, do I then just go back and do all my work? Is it a time for family? Is it a time to reach out to the poor, to the elderly, to the infirm? Is there somebody like that in your family? Is there a neighbor in your immediate vicinity who needs help? Sunday would be perfect. A perfect time just to go visit the lonely. Right?
Yes.
Am I right? Am I crazy?
You are crazy, but you're also right.
Ooh, I like it.
This is a deep third commandment, because the commandment only says, keep holy the Sabbath day, worship God, Him alone, that sort of stuff.
So the Catechism says, the faithful are to refrain from engaging in work or activities that hinder the worship owed to God, except baseball.
What?
Oh wait, no. Oh, sorry, I missed. But I mean, I think it's a great tragedy, and this happens in Stillwater. This happens in Stillwater, and that is that I think originally like sports encroached onto like Sunday afternoon, like allowed people to go to church in the morning and then go to their sporting events. There are now games and practices on Sunday mornings.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And in the minds of the coaches or the organizers of the league, it's an open time. It's a free time. But what you're doing,
it's no longer free if you're putting something there.
What you're doing is you're making families choose. Now, in my mind, the families should choose church. Because I would say, again, if you have kids, you're confusing the heck out of your children.
Yeah, church and family time.
And you're going to regret it, because your children are going to remember that church was not a priority. Mm-hmm. Your children are going to remember that we go to church when there's not sports.
Yeah.
And so sports has now become the idol.
The number one. So this is what we're doing. I'm asking the students at St. John to refrain from doing homework on Sunday. Every Sunday I remind them. I say, hey, listen here. I want you all to keep holy the Sabbath day. And that means not doing your homework on Sunday, because this is what happens. If you relegate your homework to Sunday alone, then you do basically a lot of work really fast, and it's done not with great excellence. It's done poorly. So what goes on throughout the week is there's this putting off game, this procrastination that goes on, and people keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And like, oh, I'll do it on Sunday. And then on Sunday you have to cram it in, or you have to say no to some things.
No to church.
No to worshiping God. Or you have to say no to a beautiful bike ride, or no to doing something beautiful on Sunday. Now,
time with family.
So I'm telling them, like, okay, during the week, say no to 2 hours of Netflix. Say no to...
no to drugs.
Say no to drugs. Weed shops.
Also known as Netflix.
Oh. Yeah, so as we say no to things, our FOMO stuff that just pops up, little FOMO things. How can I live without you?
Oh, that's
what we sing. And so then we put off the good and the beautiful that we could do, which is our work, for a day when we have to, in a way, do it under duress and stress.
Yeah.
So
Sundays should not be stressful.
So why not just start doing that work on like Monday early morning, or for people to get up early morning? A student told me one time, they said, yeah, I get up early in the morning to go work out. I was like, what time? They're like, 10. And I said, you don't come work out with me at 5:30? And he said, no, that's way too early. So Sunday is this beautiful, beautiful day. And when given the opportunity, God fights our wars for us. This is what, when they ask for a king, when Samuel goes to God and says, God, they're asking for a king. He says, Samuel, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting me. The one who both brings them out of slavery and sin, the one who fights their wars, the one who pours divine life down upon them, that's the one they don't want. So when we get rid of God on Sunday or worship of God in general for another king, then we basically align our minds and our hearts and our desires and our plans with that king. And that's the king that's going to rule over us. And that's the king we're going to worship. And so then we become slaves to this thing that's just sings out loud,
Slaves
oh,
to the
I
grind.
just can't wait to be king over you. But the good God says, me who is meek and humble of heart, let me be your king, and I will fight your wars for you. I will pour down the life upon you. I will not take from you. I will
Wow.
be gentle to you.
Yeah,
So it's in the end, it's our choice.
it is.
So
I
choose.
used to love that John Paul. The story goes, and John Paul II would hear confessions. So somebody would sort of pour out their heart, and I did all these things, and he would give advice, to change their ways, and then he would say, "And now you must choose."
Yes.
Free choice. We could spend our Sundays however we want, but is there a way that God is asking us to spend our Sundays? And we would say clearly yes. Going to Mass, serving those in need, spending time with family, and holy leisure.
Holy leisure. That's the word recreation, recreation.
Yep.
Boom.
To be created again. When you rest,
Uh-huh.
think of a good night's sleep. Think of a restful Sunday.
Yep.
We went to Mass. We had a nice meal as a family. We went over and visited the old lady next door. We came back, took a nap. Naps are great.
I love
by the
them.
way. And then in the evening we did this. We prayed the rosary together. You look back at that day and you think, that was a good day. Okay, now I'm rested, and now begins the work week of providing for myself and for my family.
If you want a good book to read during the season of Lent,
I know what you're going to say.
What?
No, go ahead.
Leisure is the basis of culture.
These are the basis of culture by Joseph Pieper.
So if you want a intellectual book to read that is dense and also a gold mine, rich, like as you turn each page, you're thinking, whoa, that was good. As you're turning the next page, you're like, okay, I'm going to have to read that again because that was so good. Leisure is the basis of culture.
And it's not very big.
No,
it's very small.
60, 70 pages. Yeah. It's just fantastic. It is German thought. So there's like commas and no periods. So you have to stitch the ideas together and like look.
But it's translated into English.
Exactly. Yeah. I do not speak German. Nein sprechen Sie Deutsch. The beauty of this book is to teach us like when you get leisure back in your life, when you get recreation back in your life, then your mind is able to lift up to heaven. So why can't people think about heaven? Why is like the desire for the life of the resurrection being lost right now? It's because we don't have leisure and we don't have recreation. We have slavery to our senses, slavery to technology, slavery to just cultural opinion.
That's a strong word.
It is. Like we want to be like everybody else. That's the line from Samuel. They yell out, "We just want to be like all the nations around us," and we're not. We're not meant to be like all the nations around us.
So resource-wise, Leisure, the Basis of Culture by Joseph Pieper. I recommend the 20 or so paragraphs in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, 2168 to 2188. And then if you really want to go deep, oh boy, John Paul II wrote a encyclical. I think it was an encyclical called Dies Domini.
Oh, the
Lord's Day. And it's good. It's good. It'll challenge the heck out of you. But we would encourage you look at the way you spend your Sundays. Do you go to Mass? Number one, because you should. But then the rest of your Sunday just look like all the other days?
Ooh.
And if it does, then there's a problem. And it needs some readjusting.
Clean it up.
And so now, in Lent's perfect time, right? Time of conversion.
Well, happy Lent, y'all.
So there it is. So that was, we've now covered the first commandment, the second commandment, and the third commandment.
Wow.
I think maybe in the future we should talk about the fourth commandment.
Maybe. We'll try.
We'll see what we can do. It's just about honoring your father and mother. No big deal. Okay. We're going to go and, preach the gospel. Do whatever.
Peace.
Have a great week.